topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, South Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. This is our 16th year of bringing you the greatest experts across the country. This is our backyard, South Florida. We have a great show for you for the next 25 minutes with, I would say, one of the top estate planning firms, not only in South Florida, but in the state of Florida. It is, we were just talking before the show, I was talking with attorney Tom Olson, and I did not know he has been doing radio for over 30 years, but I always wondered, because he does such a great job with the show. I said, he is so experienced. Now I know why. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Steve, to you and all of your loyal listeners in South Florida. Yes, Steve, I've been doing radio, my Olson on Law radio show every Saturday for 35 years now. It is the country's longest running legal radio show.
Absolutely. And, you know, Tom, we're in a state where the demographics are older than a lot of other states. And estate planning is so important. In fact, since I've started doing the shows, every time someone passes away at a young age, I think about, gosh, do they have a plan? And it's so important what you do, Tom.
Thank you, Steve. I've been doing wills and trusts for 45 years, so there's no substitution for experience. I've been doing it a long time. I've done thousands and thousands of wills and trusts, thousands and thousands of clients, and hey, everybody's a little bit different, Steve, but just to date ourselves, I remember being a young lawyer in 1981. I had the privilege of practicing law with my father, Robert, and he had a client that called in and said, hey, Robert, I want to make a little change to my will. And so he set me on the task. I went out on my IBM Selectric typewriter, if you're old enough to remember those, and spent all day typing it up, and went into my father and said, Dad, I've got the will all ready for the client to sign. My dad called the client and said, we got your will already. That'll be $75. The client said, oh, that's too much. I'm not going to do that. Forget it. That's all day long typing on an old Selectric typewriter. These days we use computers, and we can be much more efficient and get a much better product for the clients.
I think what else we've learned is about Zooming, especially with, when it comes to a more mature audience. Zooming is more important because not everybody can get to the office.
Steve, we offer a free initial consultation to talk to clients about their estate planning. We can represent clients throughout the state of Florida, from the Keys to Pensacola. We can do that free initial consultation over the phone, in person, via Zoom. Reach out to us, floridaseniorplanning.com. We also text through our phone system, so clients find that to be very, very convenient as a way to communicate. So yeah, wherever you are, hey, even if you just want to pick up the phone and call us, it's easy to talk to us on the phone, floridaseniorplanning.com. I'll give you a phone number. We're standing by to talk to you right now, 407-423-5561. That's FloridaSeniorPlanning.com. We can get your estate planning questions answered and schedule a free initial consultation to talk about your estate planning. Steve, our goal is to make things simple, easy, inexpensive for your children when you pass away so that you can pass as much wealth as you can on to your kids without it being eaten up through probate fees and executor fees. And also to make things simple and easy for your kids. It's going to be much less opportunity for them to argue with each other. So things will stay smooth with your family after you pass away.
Tom, there are so many different areas of estate planning. What are the areas that you mostly concentrate on?
Steve, we concentrate on the 4 basic documents that we do for everybody. They are a will, a living will, which I call a pull the plug document, a health care surrogate, and a financial power of attorney. That's part 1. Part 2, we always go with clients, is how to avoid probate. People want to avoid probate because it's expensive and takes a long time. And then part 3, we do for some of our clients, and that is to protect their wealth from the cost of a nursing home. Nursing homes are $15,000 a month. That's a lot of money. If you're out there and you're talking to your friends and family and coworkers and neighbors and you hear these words, oh, mom fell, she broke her hip, she went to rehab, we thought she was going to go home, but now she's got to go to a nursing home, $15,000 a month, everything she's ever worked for down the drain, nothing we can do about it. No, at Florida Senior Planning, we have all the tools we need to protect your wealth from the cost of a nursing home. You can reach us. We have free booklets on that topic. Call us anytime or reach out to us, FloridaSeniorPlanning.com or 407-423-5561.
You know, there's so many, again, we're getting a lot of emails, Tom, people asking about elder law. What do you consider elder law?
I would say that's exactly what we're doing. Estate planning documents, helping people avoid probate, helping people to protect their wealth from the cost of a nursing home, all fit within this parameter of elder law. Steve, I want to say that a lot of people come to us with a preconceived notion, well, they have to have a trust. Their neighbors, their friends. You have to have a trust to avoid probate. Steve, we're all about keeping it simple. Most of our clients are using simple tools to avoid probate. They don't need a trust to avoid probate. We consider a trust to be a complicated tool for avoiding probate. But Steve, I want to take a few minutes to tell you where a living trust can be the appropriate tool for avoiding probate for your listeners. So number 1, if you own multiple pieces of property, if you own real estate in other states like North Carolina or Colorado, good reasons to use a living trust. If you've got minor children or you're including your minor grandchildren, if you've got children who are spendthrifts, if you've got children who have alcohol or addiction issues, and you know you can't just turn your wealth over to that child, they'd squander it. Those are all good reasons to use a trust. Now, when we talk about a trust, people hear that term all the time. We're all talking about the same thing, a revocable living trust. When I do a trust for people, the revocable means that everything that I do for a client, they can change right up to the moment of your death. Nothing I do for you is written in stone. You can take assets in and out of that trust. You can sell your assets, change who your beneficiaries are, change who your successor trustees are. It is only after the trust maker dies, only then does a trust become irrevocable. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, hey, should I be using simple tools to avoid probate? Or should I be using a revocable living trust to avoid probate? Well, call us at that free initial consultation. We'll help you quickly figure out what would be the best tools for you. We are FloridaSeniorPlanning.com. We're standing by to take your phone call right now. 407-423-5561. We have free booklets on all these topics. easy ways to avoid probate, how to protect your life savings from the cost of a nursing home. We'd be happy to mail you those free booklets. Call us right now, 407-423-5561.
Okay. We just got a text. This is a good question. This is from a person who's watching your show from New York. He said, I'm really enjoying your show. I watched your show last month. He said, I want to know, I'm coming down to South Florida. My mother needs help. When you help a person set up their estate planning, do you also help them with areas like pre-need and Medicare?
Exactly. So a pre-need document is a document that we do for clients. And what it's saying is that if you ever have to set up a guardianship for me, the client, this is who I want to appoint to be my guardian. So yes, we certainly include that in our package of documents. Medicare is something that everybody gets when they turn age 65. You don't have a choice. You turn 65, you got to go on Medicare. That's the government's health insurance plan. Medicaid is a government agency that will pay for somebody's nursing home or provide up to 30 hours of free in-home care for seniors. Medicaid, you have to financially qualify for. At Florida Senior Planning, we can get you financially qualified. It's where Medicaid will pay for your nursing home. Medicaid will provide you with up to 30 hours of free in-home care. So a lot of people are out there thinking, I don't qualify for Medicaid. I got too much money. I make too much money. No, we have all the tools we need to get you financially qualified, save your money, pass on your wealth to your kids. State of Florida will happily pay for your nursing home. By the way, Steve, 65% of residents in nursing homes are on Medicaid. Almost every nursing home has Medicaid beds available. When you're in a nursing home, the staff and the doctors, they are not allowed to know who's on Medicaid and who's a private pay. Everybody gets the same level of care, whether you're paying your own $15,000 a month or whether we get you qualified for Medicaid and have the state of Florida pay for your nursing home. And by the way, nursing homes, they prefer Medicaid clients. It's a guaranteed monthly check to them. They don't have to worry about clients running out of money. Then what do? So believe me, folks, nursing homes, they love Medicaid clients. We'll get you qualified for Medicaid to pay for your nursing home when the time comes.
Here's another text that just came in from Palm Beach Gardens. They want to know, this is really a great show. There's so many things that people don't understand, like myself. Can you tell me what a trustee does?
Okay. So when somebody passes away, somebody needs to settle their estate, pay their creditors, doctors, hospitals, credit cards, file a final income tax return, disperse the money out to the beneficiaries. If you die with a will and you go through probate, which we're all about helping people to avoid probate, but if you don't take steps to avoid probate, then your executor, personal representative will do those things. Pay creditors, file a final income tax return, disperse the money out to the beneficiaries. When you use a revocable living trust to avoid probate, in that situation, it is your successor trustee who will do those things. So again, successor trustee's job, pay the creditors, doctors, hospitals, credit cards, file a final income tax return, and then disperse the money out to the trust beneficiaries. So it's just a question of whether you're going through probate, it's an executor, or you're using a living trust. It's a successor trustee that will do those jobs. In both of those situations, the successor trustee and the executor, they're both entitled to a fee for doing those services, but they're both personally liable. If they don't do the job properly, then they can be personally liable for the things that they do wrong.
This is from Boca Raton. Enjoying your show. Can you tell me, I am really having a hard time. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. What is a power of attorney?
Okay. So, Steve, when we do standard documents, estate planning documents for people, we do two types of powers of attorney. One is for healthcare decisions. The other is for taking care of business, finances for you if you're not able to. When we talk to a client, if they got 3 kids, we ask them to give us a first, second, and third choice. We tell people, look, this is not an award. You are choosing which child might be best to do these things for you. Maybe the client's got a daughter who's a nurse. She might be best to make healthcare decisions. Maybe they got a son who's a CPA or an investment advisor. He might be the best one to handle finances if mom and dad are not able to handle their own finances. What do kids really care about? They care that they will all receive mom and dad's wealth equally when mom and dad pass away. So when it comes down to making healthcare financial, just choose a child that's the best one. Sometimes people will say, Tom, I've got a daughter that lives in Central Florida. I'm going to choose her. I've got a son that lives in California. I'm not going to choose him. He lives in California. Well, it doesn't really matter where they live, Steve. We can make healthcare and take care of business by email, fax, snail mail, telephone, you name it. So your kids can live anywhere. Now, if you said, Tom, all of my kids, they're all great. They all get along. They're all qualified to make healthcare decisions for me if I'm not able to, or they're all qualified to do finances for me if I'm not able. Well, you can choose all 3 of your kids, all of them, any one of them can do this for you. So just put all 3 kids down, and that's another way to handle it if all your kids get along and they're all qualified to make healthcare financial decisions for you.
Tom, I'm sure you get a lot of people who have questions about contesting a will, especially family members. What do you tell? How do you tell those people what they should do?
Yeah. Steve, I want to talk about that, but I want to go back to your New York listener, by the way. I get phone calls all the time. I had one this morning from a lady who lives in Illinois. She's taken all steps necessary to avoid probate on her assets in Illinois. But she says, Tom, I've got a Disney Vacation Club timeshare. I want to add my son's name to that timeshare. I said, that is a great idea because people that live out of state often have timeshares in Florida. And guess what?
Yeah.
Those timeshares have to go through probate. So many times people forget about their timeshares. So folks, if you've got a timeshare, whether you live in Florida or another state, you need to take steps to avoid probate on your timeshares. We can help you with that at floridaseniorplanning.com. We have free booklets on avoiding probate. Call us right now. We got operators standing by, 407-423-5561. So Steve, I have people call me all the time. Tom, my mom passed away. She did not include me in her will. Or they'll say, Tom, my mom, she went down and she signed a deed where she left the home to my sister. I want to challenge that deed. My mom didn't know what she's signing. Well, step number 1 always for me is to get a copy of that will or get a copy of that deed. When somebody calls me about that deed, I can go right on the internet. I can get a copy of that deed. I can take a look at it. Otherwise, the client's going to have to send me a copy of it. If I see that will or that deed was a homemade document, it was prepared by the person who gets all the money, it was witnessed and notarized by the friends of the child who's getting all the money, it's automatically suspect. If that will or deed was prepared by an attorney and witnessed by the attorney's staff and notarized by the attorney, it is rock solid. So folks, if you want to challenge a will, if you want to challenge a deed, step number 1, get a copy of it. Now, again, the deed, I can find that in the public records. I can go take a look at it. I can tell if it's homemade or not. As far as the will, I can't. The wills are not filed or recorded anywhere. So if you've been omitted from your parents' will and you want to challenge it, before you call a lawyer, go get a copy of it. You're entitled to get a copy of it, even if you've been omitted from that will. And that's going to tell us a lot about which way to proceed.
Tom, I got to tell you, it seems like we get about 2 or 3 emails a month from the children, and they keep telling us how their parents procrastinate about getting an estate planning. Do you have any thoughts as to what? Because a lot of them have never been through this before, and it seems like they're trying to get their parents to put together a plan, but they keep procrastinating. Any suggestions?
Well, I would first by making sure that they're not under a misconception, Steve, because all the time people call us and say, Mom died with a will. In her will, she left everything to the 3 kids. It doesn't require probate, does it? So a lot of people think if I got a will, no probate required. No, having a will does not avoid probate. So make sure your parents know that. A will simply directs what happens to your assets when they go through probate. So first of all, make sure your parents are aware that a will does not avoid probate. Next thing, tell them is that Florida statutes recommends an attorney fee to be equal to 3% of the value of the estate. So if mom has a $700,000 home and $300,000 in the bank and CDs, $1 million through probate times 3%, that's $30,000. So if you tell mom or dad, hey, if you got to go through probate, first thing the lawyer's going to do is take $30,000 off the top, I think you're going to get your parents' attention because they didn't work hard all their lives to accumulate wealth to turn it over to the lawyers. So I think they're going to be the first ones to agree, yeah, I want to avoid probate. Now, Steve, we meet with clients all the time, and I can say, 90% of the times when I meet with a client, we say, okay, part 1, we're going to get these basic documents for you: will, living will, healthcare surrogate, financial power of attorney. Part number 2 is we want to avoid probate. 90% of the time, people will shake their head up and down and go, yeah, I want to avoid probate. Why? Because everybody has heard horror stories about their parents, friends, families, neighbors, coworkers, about what a nightmare probate was in Florida. So most people know they want to avoid it. So just make sure the parents are aware of that.
Tom, I got to tell you, we do a lot of estate planning shows across the country. You are our exclusive for the South Florida area. We get probably 2 or 3 emails a month, people just thanking us for your show. And you do a radio show. I'll tell people when your radio show is.
Yeah, by the way, we represent clients throughout the state of Florida, from the Keys to Pensacola. Florida Senior Planning can assist you in your basic estate planning documents, helping you to avoid probate, getting the state of Florida to pay for your nursing home if you got to go through one. We have free booklets on all these topics. You want to get these free booklets, go through our website, floridaseniorplanning.com, or call us right now. We got operators standing by for your phone call, 407-423-5561. Steve, for 35 years, I've had my own radio show called Olson on Law. It is America's longest running legal radio show. And what I do is I answer legal questions just as fast as I can. By the time they break out commercials and news, I got about 45 minutes of airtime every Saturday. Olson on Law radio show. I typically answer 15 to 20 legal questions. So there's a real need out there. What I found in my 45 years of law practice is people often just need a few minutes of free legal advice to tell them, hey, nothing to worry about, or give them some direction about where they need to go to. And by the way, people can always email us their legal questions. There are going to be people driving around later today and think, oh, I had a great question for attorney Tom Olson. I forgot to ask him. Well, guess what, folks? You can always email us your legal question through our website, floridaseniorplanning.com, or give us a call, 407-423-5561. all the lawyers in our office. We are happy to give you a few minutes of free legal advice right over the telephone. By the way, Steve, often we have estate planning clients and they'll say something like this: Tom, before we went to see you, we called another law firm. No way. They were never going to let us talk to a lawyer. We had to talk to their staff first. And the staff said,
Right.
before you can meet with a lawyer, we're going to send you a 20-page questionnaire to fill out. No, that's not how we do it. We're all about keeping things simple here at Florida Senior Planning. You don't need to fill out a questionnaire to come see us. And you want to talk to a lawyer before you ever come down and meet with us? Hey, you can do that. FloridaSeniorPlanning.com. We're happy to talk to you on the phone. 407-423-5561.
And Tom's with us twice a month. Tom, we cannot, I know this takes out from your day, but we thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.
It's a pleasure, Steve. I'll see you then.
That's attorney Tom Olson. Hey, that's going to do it for us today. We will be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.